what you want to know!
What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another episode of What Do You Want to Know? You ask your questions. If I like your questions, I answer your questions on camera. Yeah, so with all the super shitty stuff going on, I really didn't want to talk about anything super serious. I'll just say, just be good to each other, man. Treat each other with respect, reciprocate kindness, Most of all, stop telling people how to process their emotions. Have discussions, learn from each other, grow, build, all that good stuff. But moving on, let's jump into a question. Tiger Eyes said, "You seem to be a man who can appreciate a good strip club. Plus, living in Atlanta, I'm sure you've hit up a bunch. Any crazy stories?" Well, first of all, I don't know why you think I'm a person that frequents strip clubs. I don't know what the strip club frequenter looks like, but am I it? That's weird. But what's also funny about you asking this question is I talked about this on Dom's Sketchcast. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description section down there. I don't remember how this came up, but I was talking about going to my boy's bachelor party, which is at a strip club. And I won't spoil it. Just make sure you guys go check it out. We went to a strip club that had some really, really excellent pretzels. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm not really a big fan of strip clubs. I went to quite a few when I lived in Florida with one of my best friends, and every time we went, I would seriously just fall asleep, and I wouldn't even be drunk. Trust me, I love the female body. Like any straight man, I love breasts, I love asses, I love all that good stuff. But like anything good, it gets old after a while. You stare at a set of breasts over and over, and another set over and over. So I get extremely bored after maybe an hour. So this story in particular takes place at a strip club in Florida. This was probably 15 years ago, and I flew down to Florida to hang out with my boy Alex and my boy Cliff. They were attending this conference with a bunch of other label people. I can't say too many details about the people that were there. They're all very professional people, and I'm sure they wouldn't want their business out there on the internet. So let's just say it was a bunch of really prominent people in the metal music industry. So we ended up going to this strip club called Tootsie's in Miami, and from what I understand and what I remember is it used to be a Publix, and they gutted the Publix and turned it into a strip club. So this place was huge, stages everywhere. So we actually got a VIP room in the back. Now mind you, I was already drunk before we got there. When we got to the strip club, I was already uncomfortable, and I knew I was going to be bored, so I had 3 more drinks on top of that. So I was pretty much wasted. Then the worst thing that could have happened. One of the guys started ordering bottles of Jaeger. Now, I love Jaeger. I don't work well with Jaeger. So we were doing shots of Jaeger, not out of shot glasses, but out of rocks glasses. Bam, bam, bam. Pretty much the last thing I remember is just totally pounding these things back. And then I remember seeing the dude smashing glasses against the wall. So for the rest of the story, I do remember bits and pieces here and there, but for the most part, I kind of had to depend on what other people were telling me that were there. There was a traveling stripper, and she had this thing where she would go on stage and she'd do a handstand. When she did the handstand, she would spread her legs while she was doing the handstand, and you could take a picture with your head kind of behind her so it looked like your head was coming out of her, So somehow my boys got me on stage and in this chair, and the stripper did her handstand split thing in front of me, and instead of just sitting back and getting the picture taken like a normal asshole, I plopped my face, bam, right on her hoo-ha, and it resulted in this picture. Yeah, and we're not done. I got back to the VIP room and kept drinking, and my friends ended up losing me. I'm not sure for how long, but they ended up finding me on the floor under a pool table on the phone with my ex-girlfriend, who actually recorded the conversation.
Seriously? One of the guys gave me like 4 shots of Jaeger. Right now, I am on the floor out in the back room of a strip club where, at this strip club, girls get butt-boned naked. The bartender just walked by and laughed at me because I can't stand up. Oh, have a limit. I'm like G.I. Joe. You know how G.I. Joe says what? They say, hold on a second, they say, and now I know and no one's in the next battle. G.I. Joe. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I'm awesome. So at that point, it was apparent that they needed to get me out of there because I couldn't handle myself. So they're dragging me out of the club. And on the way out, there's this girl that's giving like a private dance kind of on the sidelines. And I walked up behind her, man, and I totally fucking credit carded her right up her poor little butt crack. And again, a moment where I should have gotten punched extremely hard, but I didn't for some reason. Then we get to the front door, and we're waiting for everyone else to come out, and my boy Cliff is talking to the front door girl, and somehow I introduced myself, or he introduced me, I don't really remember, but she wanted to shake my hand, so I shook it, and remember Superman 2? And Zod's like, oh, pledge your allegiance to Zod, or whatever, and instead of just shaking Zod's hand, he crushes it. Yeah, I did that to that poor girl. I have no idea why. Cliff said the look on her face was absolute terror as I'm holding her hand and this little skinny weirdo dude is crushing this poor girl's hand. And I, again, should have gotten punched, but I didn't. And they get me out of the building, finally. Not done. We're in the parking lot. And this part I do remember for some reason, but I remember there was a car full of girls driving around the parking lot, and they're woo, probably all drunk, including the driver. And somehow I ended up climbing through the driver's window and making out with the passenger. I don't know who the passenger was. I don't know what she looked like. I'm not even positive that it was a woman, but I remember this part of the story. And yeah, so we're still not done. So we get back to Alex's place. When I'm that drunk, I either want to get really crunk or I want to just go straight to bed. There's no middle ground for me. So it wasn't hard to get me to crash. He just was like, Myke, go to bed. And I did. So here's the problem. So around 4 a.m., Alex wakes up to me standing in the doorway of his room, full dick out, just straight up pissing all over the jeans that he had taken off and left on the floor. See, he'd gotten these jeans from the mall. They were expensive. They had like the cool fake rips on them. And apparently I didn't like these jeans very much. So in my drunken state, I decided to piss all over them shits. So he yells, "What the fuck are you doing?" And my response was, "Don't worry. Cliff said it's okay." So he says he went and he threw the jeans immediately in the washing machine. And when he returned, I was in my drawers just walking around in circles all by myself. So yeah, so after that, he was finally able to get me to bed. I woke up the next morning in nothing but my drawers, my socks, my shirt, and my hat. No idea what had happened the night before. I find my pants, I reach in the pocket, and I find a Polaroid of this picture that I absolutely do not recognize. Then I wander into Alex's room to find him posting the picture all over the internet, all over MySpace. This is right before he points to a huge wet spot on the floor and explains to me how I'd relieved myself all over his fancy schmancy jeans with fake rips. Thank God he had hardwood floors and not carpet. But this is the sign of a best friend, man. He should have beat my ass, but he didn't because he's my boy. I actually should have gotten my ass kicked at least 5 times that night, but for some reason I didn't. And if I was a religious man, I'd say I had a serious guardian angel on my shoulder looking out for you, boy, because I should have got fucked up bad. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this ridiculous douchebaggy story. Disclaimer again, I was completely blackout wasted that night. I would never do those things sober at all. So I don't want to see a whole bunch of comments from a bunch of pseudo-feminists in the Jesse Spano voice telling me how I'm a chauvinist pig. But I know I behaved like a douchebag that night. And I know alcohol's not an excuse, but I'm still going to blame it on the alcohol, baby. Because shit, I was fucking drunk, and miss me with the, oh, your true feelings come out when you're drinking. Bull fucking shit, people. Like, everyone processes alcohol differently, and I'm quite certain that prior to getting drunk that night, I had no desire to swipe my hand up some poor girl's butt crack or toss some random stripper's salad. So, yeah, save that shit, especially if you're not a drinker. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So, moral of the story, as with all of my ridiculously dumb fucking stories, don't be like Myke, make better decisions. That's it. So that's it for this video. If you want to submit some what do you want to know questions, make sure you send them to my Tumblr. You can send them to me on Twitter by hashtagging WDYWK, or you can put them on my YouTube discussion board. That's it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright? Peace, bitches!